None of us are afraid to die. We all have this like cocky air about us going into it. When you think about every individual person who's just like, yeah, I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna win it.
The tournament is here. I'll need to end every last driver that gets in my way. No pressure or anything.
One of the cool things about having a season 2 of this kind of show is we push the limits, because now we see more blood, we see more violence. What was that thing that pushed your character to the limit in this second season?
Ooh, the stakes are so high.
Question.
I think once Calypso announces the tournament, I think that really lights a fire under everyone's ass to get something done, you know, and follow that mission through and see it all the way until the end and do whatever it takes to make that happen. So I really think that that's the driving force. And what's beautiful and what a lot of people have said, who got a sneak peek at the show, is that finally, like, the tournament is happening, and that is Twisted Metal. That is like the heart of the show. So I think that's the thing that sort of definitely pushes my character. I feel like Dollface is game on. All right, we got a tournament. Let's go win this shit.
I know. I feel like every character goes in with like, I have nothing to lose, so I'm gonna put it all out there. And then that's what I think is so fun for the viewers, is you're like, oh, everyone's like on the, chopping block here. Like anything could happen to anyone at any second. And so it's really exciting. And I think for the characters, it like really invested my character. Oh, like Calypso can do whatever he wants. He's in charge, and he's not gonna make this easy. And
I feel like the thing that ends up just like bringing all of us together in a little weird way is the tournament. Like we all have that one wish that we want, and it's just like crazy that there's like what we all have in common is just that, like, honestly, like none of us are afraid of the challenge. None of us are afraid to die. We all have this like cocky air about us going into it. When you think about every individual person who's just like, yeah, I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna win it.
Yeah.
But like nobody ever really is thinking about how like it's just one. You're gonna have to murder everybody else in this room. Is that easy? Like, is that really? Are you really gonna sit here and be like, got it? But it is, like, we all have that in common in our characters. We're simply just all narcissists, I suppose.
Yeah, but also I feel that there's three different energies. There's greed, there's chaos, there's like a youthful fire. And I wonder, it has to be a rhythm. It has to be a rhythm for this to work. How do you find that rhythm? Is through the script, through the director? Do you just find it like, like with this, I don't know, this love in the air?
I think the writing was so, it gave us such, truly a script, like a rhythm to follow. The writing was so beautiful in this that like you knew when to take those moments that were quieter and more like introspective, and then the ones that were so big and powerful.
And just when it got like so sad or so somber, then it was brought right back up with like a dick joke or
something funny.
Like, or like something that just gave you it, but it didn't feel like a joke. It felt like, oh, okay, all right, yes, this happened, and like it's still there, and I'm still wiping my tears, but I can like giggle in the moment. And I think that that's also life. Like I think like even in your darkest moments, you're emotional, you're sad, and then something funny happens and you can't help but to laugh because it's just you're at that soft space. So I think that the writing for sure.
And everyone, like MJ very much extremely included, was so willing to allow us so much creative freedom that I think even just that mere support of being like, hey, we trust what you're doing, like we're putting these characters in your hands, and obviously we can say move a little to the left, move a little to the right, smile more, but like this is going to be your work, this is what you're representing. And I think having the support from behind honestly is what made it that much easier, that much better. It was us being like, oh, like these people have confidence that I know what I'm doing. And you know what? I do. Yeah. I do know what I'm doing. So let me kill it. Like, yeah, okay, I'll drive a car, I'll crash into a wall. Like, it's it was having so much support behind the scenes and in the scenes. That honestly made everything feel so natural and easy.
One of the things that for me always surprised me about a show like this, it's it changed your definition of what's violence, because this is just violence for being a world full of violence. But we also live in a different kind of not post-apocalyptic violence world. Is your definition with violence or your relationship with violence changed after making a show like this?
Should we let the strongest man answer first?
uh, no, actually, I'm a pretty violent guy in general. Like I train in jujitsu. I'm a big fan of MMA. I mean, ripping someone's head off literally, that is a bit extreme. But I do. I'm not afraid of throwing a punch or getting punched. So yeah, it kind of reinstilled my love for violence.
I guess I've never really done a violent show like this before, and I didn't realize how funny it could be.
I wouldn't consider myself a violent person, but I definitely feel like all the violence in the show is warranted and at times very funny, at times very moving, and always batshit crazy.
The balance is great because it also has comedy, and then every character has comedy. I don't think they find the balance of with that comedic relief. But I wonder if your character could design their own personal car for battle, how would it look this car? Because for me, I remember this movie that I watched when I was a kid, Death Race, where I love, and I started designing my own car when I was a kid. And I wonder if you had thought about designing your own car.
I feel like Axel's car is pretty perfect. I just think he needs a few more bazookas, a couple on his shoulders, maybe a ray gun. Just deck it out with some more guns.
I feel like Grimm's motorcycle's perfect too. Maybe just like some armor. Some armor would be nice to be able to take a hit.
Vermin's exterminator van is so fun because it was also so fun to play in, and it was huge, and it actually genuinely had like purple shag carpet inside. I think there was like a lot of parts of that van that people couldn't see, but if I had my own personal car that I fantasized personally about, there was a girl in my cul-de-sac who had a Barbie Jeep, and it was so, one of those little motorized ones for kids, and I still got my eye on that.
Power Wheels.
Yeah.
A Barbie Jeep with a machine gun strapped to it.
That's pretty cool. I like it. We have this platform now that we can watch this kind of shows, and we can watch the whole episodes in one seat. As an actor, as a creator, how do you feel that this is good for the industry, or it changes the industry? Like we can tell more stories through platform, or you think this is like kind of different than 20 years ago that we just watch one episode on TV and then just wait for a week to watch the next one?
That's a good question, man. I really enjoyed the old way because you could watch an episode of television and it would be the topic of conversation for the week, and everyone would kind of be up to speed at the same rate and waiting for the next moment. And I kind of enjoyed that like group consensus of like, oh, did you see what happened last week on so-and-so? And you're kind of theorizing what's going to happen next. And now it's like everybody's binging at their own speed. So you can't really talk about it because you don't want to spoil it. I do miss that old format because it just kind of like, it was like a tension building over the season,
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like everyone used to be watching Friends and the whole world could talk about it. This ain't Friends. So we're lucky that enough stuff is being made that niche freak shows like this can be made for the fans that otherwise wouldn't be, this shit ain't Central Perk, you know what I mean?
Nah. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I binged season 1 in one sitting, and I really enjoyed it. I think that the way that Peacock is releasing it is pretty smart because they're doing 1, 2, 3 on July 31st, and then every Thursday through August 28th. And I feel like as the show progresses, people are going to have that time built in to talk about the characters and talk about what happens to them and how it all informs what's happening in the show. I feel like it might be the perfect balance.